humans, she would be the one most able to take care of them. But no, she would be last. Sure, wake the pilot last and see where that gets you. If anything's wrong, do you honestly think Hunter or Lucas could handle it? No friggin' way. Even though she knew they could, she wasn't about to admit it, and it still pissed her off. Nothing would go wrong, they told her. Resolute was the most advanced piece of technology ever built, they said. Years of planning and preparation went into her design and construction, built in orbit over the span of 3 years, at the cost of billions of dollars. She was simply a thing of beauty, stretching the length of a football field from tip to tail. It was called, and maybe rightly so, humanity's greatest achievement. The level of acceptable risk, the designers said, was exceptionally low. But things go wrong all the time, regardless of how solid the design or careful the planning. Machines break, and usually at the worst possible moment. Even though Resolute was the most remarkable spacecraft ever built, it was still a machine. And although controlled by cutting-edge artificial intelligence, AI, that could make decisions while the crew was in stasis, it could still break. To Sif, though, it all seemed like a crash program. Hurried. There was a new space race going on, with the Russians and the Chinese, and the US was going to be the first to send a manned mission to Mars. Period. Dot. Somewhere within the miles of wiring, thousands of welds, and millions of lines of computer code, there might well be a devil lurking. Even some of the most advanced space probes smacked dead into the Moon or Mars because someone flipped a 1 and 0, and none of those craft were as complex as Resolute. Flying is a dangerous business, Sif remembered her dad telling her mom. He also used to say that he was safer in his Tomcat than in his car. A true statement, but painfully ironic, since it was a car accident that took both of her parents from her. Space travel was a dangerous business, too. She personally, and privately, gave their mission a 60-40 chance to succeed, and even that seemed optimistic. The pain in her arms and legs subsided, and her breathing grew steady, but still, this wasn't what she expected, and it worried her. She fought to open her eyes, and when she did, she realized her initial suspicions were correct. From inside her stasis capsule, with IV lines taped to her arms and thigh and a mask covering her face, Sif didn't see the smiling faces of Hunter Webb and Lucas Hoover through her viewport. Rather, there were only debris spinning, floating by in the weightlessness of Resolute's crew compartment. The lights were flickering, unsteady. Reality cut through her fog, and it dawned on her what must be happening. She was awakened early for a reason, and not a good one. As her mind began to fire more clearly, she remembered how, if something happened to the ship that the AI couldn't handle, the crew would be brought out of stasis as soon as physically possible, shocked awake by a flood of chemicals. And it wouldn't be a pleasant experience. The docs were right. It wasn't pleasant. It hurt. The light level in her stasis capsule gradually increased, and she squinted against the glare. To her left, she glanced at a readout showing how much time was left until unlock, when her capsule's lid would open. 2 minutes. Below her readout were 2 identical timers, one for Hunter and one for Lucas. In 10 seconds, Lucas's capsule would open, but there was a malfunction with Hunter's. It had reached 0 but was blinking red, which meant it either failed to open or he was incapacitated. And there was nothing she could do about it. Damn it! To her right was an environmental status readout. Whatever had happened to the ship could have fried a circuit board or two, allowing their stasis capsules to open into a vacuum. She quickly scanned the numbers and was relieved to see that air pressure and atmospheric gas levels were in the normal range. The temperature, however, was in the low range, 42 degrees Fahrenheit, and that in and of itself was concerning. The AI program that monitored Resolute's functions was a brilliant piece of technology, but was still a computer. The techies called it OLIVIA, Olivia, which stood for Operational Linguistic Isolated Variable Intelligence Algorithms. The crew called it her Liv. Lucas's capsule was now open according to the